And welcome to another episode of Star 42. I'm Michael.
And I'm Jace. Welcome back.
Yeah, absolutely. So last time we met, we talked about the great philosophy you have in terms of positive vibes and being able to set your own luck. I thought it was a good call. It was definitely a little different than the technology. But today we're going to get back into the tech world, and there's a lot of great news, a lot of cool happenings going on. The question is, where do you want to start? Because I've had Jewish holidays this week, like Yom Kippur was yesterday. And if you're not Jewish, you don't know what it is. It is the holiest day of the year. And you basically start the night before sundown. You don't eat or drink anything till sundown the next day, plus 1 hour, so like 25 hours. And it's just like the Day of Atonement and you're miserable and whatever. But the world is here the next day. So obviously what I did worked. You can thank me later. I'll send my Venmo out if anyone feels like, really thanking me financially. But besides that, there's a few topics we've kind of started to discuss. So what do you want to do first? I'm going to give it up to you because I'm too lazy to pick.
Let's eat the frog. Let's talk about the stuff that it might not be the best.
Wait, you know what? I do bring up one thing. Look at this new shirt.
Oh, what is it? It's for those who aren't watching and just listening. It says Technorama Podcast.
Yes.
It has a beautiful blue and gold microphone in the middle, surrounded by other tech stuff around it. And where did you get said shirt?
I got this from T Republic. As Chuck Tomasi, the famed Technorama podcaster, author of Podcasting for Dummies, one of the former ServiceNow evangelists, one of the key speakers at the Knowledge Conference, is now designing his own t-shirts. And of course, I had to get a couple. I got this one and I got the one with like JavaScript, like eat, sleep, code something.
Yeah.
And my wife is not happy that I have yet another t-shirt. But I also recently purchased the ServiceNow Zurich release t-shirt, of which I got one for
me,
my co-host. Yeah.
I appreciate that so much. I can't wait to get in person and then collaborate. We'll have to record this in person when we do it.
You know what? We will need to do that. I don't know if I will be at the next Knowledge.
Maybe I'll have to fly out to Ohio or you to Minnesota.
All right, cool. All right. Anyway, I just totally said, hey, you pick, and then I went derailed. So now it's your turn.
No, it's fantastic. While we're talking about things, we were just talking about how the call for content just opened up for the proper Knowledge event.
Yes, Knowledge 26 in May in Vegas again.
Hey, some people love Vegas. Vegas has lots of great food. There's cool shows.
Shows are cool. The shows are cool, yes.
It has enough space for all the events.
That is the thing. It does have all the space, and that is a challenge. Last year they had close to 25,000 people. And my first
More than.
Okay. My first Knowledge I went to was Knowledge 12 in New Orleans, and like 3,000 people were there total. I was a speaker, and it was great because the final party was on Bourbon Street, and they had Fred Luddy taking pictures with people and stuff. So that's still by far the best Knowledge. I don't think we'll get better than that. But yes, call for speakers for the Knowledge. And by the way, that includes both Knowledge proper and the CreatorCon event. So if you don't know, maybe you're new to ServiceNow or you haven't, been to many Knowledge conferences, CreatorCon is kind of like a mini conference within ServiceNow. It's still part of Knowledge, but it is very technical, developer-focused content. So last year, I had a few speaking presentations, one lab and then one content for CreatorCon specifically. And then this year, I think they're doing the speaker submissions together. And I also noticed in the new thing that says, hey, thank you for considering being a speaker. Please only submit your top 2 topics. Only 2 now.
Well, did they let you submit more than one in 2025?
I submitted 7.
Well, I know that one of the years they only let you submit one.
I don't know which one. I submitted 7 or 8.
It was 2022 or 3 or 4.
I don't know. I submitted 7 or 8.
Yeah. I mean, I'm being on the other, obviously I'm not seeing the same quantity on the other side of the fence, but seeing the submissions that we got and trying to go through them and make things work, I can understand why they're trying to limit it,
I understand given the amount of content especially. And I will tell anyone out there, if you do want to go speak at Knowledge, the proper Knowledge content, they love. The biggest thing is, we want to highlight customer. Customer content is usually 85 to 90% of the
Well,
conference.
it's customer content within the theme of the conference.
Well, of course, within ServiceNow.
Well, right, but if I were to submit something on like customers did great with legacy workflow, blah 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 blah, like that's never going to get accepted.
No.
That's what I'm saying. You have to really tailor it to the products that they're selling, the products that they're trying to move.
Okay, well, also don't do anything that's like on its way out the door as far as capability.
I'm just saying, no, read your audience, right? ServiceNow, if they're going to pick your talk, you got to pick something that they're going to want to talk about. Talk about RaptorDB. Talk about AI. Talk about those kind of performance changes.
AI. Well, now that we're the AI, ServiceNow's the AI platform, AI would make sense. But the one thing I also say is, CreatorCon, because it is more developer focused, you can submit items and topics that are just that technical focus piece. It doesn't have to be a story. I always say like, hey, if you are with a customer and you want to speak at the proper Knowledge and share your story, that's the proper Knowledge, if you will, submission. But if you're a developer, techie nerd, me, and you want to be like, hey, how about a trivia game on ServiceNow, which is one thing I presented on last time. Great. CreatorCon is going to be for it. The CreatorCon is a little bit more relaxed, more cooler. They got all the neat doodads, and Lauren McManaman, and who I know is a friend of mine, and Christy Merriam, who I worked with. I think they do a lot of speaking at the CreatorCon. I like the CreatorCon a little bit more just because it's more my vibe.
Likewise.
But that being said, it is open. We'll post a link in the notes, which I better get this published sooner than later, because I know the CreatorCon deadline is like October 24th, and it's now October 3rd.
October 24th. That is like 7 days after the Knowledge will have run. And that's 14 days from right now.
Yes.
So hopefully, well, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry you didn't make it, but I hope you get to watch it on replay. But maybe you'll get a chance to listen to this.
Maybe I'll actually get this published before.
But it is so exciting. We're over 650 people already.
This podcast or Null Edge?
Null Edge.
This podcast were like 5.
Maybe. I think it's just 2, me and you.
That's fine. That's fine. So,
I know Chuck listens. Chuck
time.
Brings it up when I talk to him occasionally.
Good. Which, by the way, if you caught the last Chuck Technorama, he had Adam Savage, I think his name is, from like what are those guys called? I just forgot. Mythbusters. Thank you. And I'm like, dude,
I didn't know he had
next
that reach.
level.
Yeah, I listened to Adam Savage book every something is a hammer.
Every nail's a hammer.
No, like there's a phrase. Like every tool is a hammer.
Oh, I mean, in theory, every tool can be a hammer.
Well, but that's the title of his book. He talks about like how he came into where he is and some of his philosophies on that kind of stuff. And it's a good book. I'd highly encourage listening to it if you're an audiobook fan, because he does his own, he reads it. So it's fantastic too.
All right. I'll listen to that. I'll get that. All right. So on to some other news. You want to pick the topic? I'll actually let you pick this time.
I mean, we've kind of both picking it. It's fine.
Okay.
A few weeks ago, Josh Brostoff of GlideFast posted this tool called Intexia.ai, Intexa.ai.
Yes.
And it appears as if they've indexed all of the docs of ServiceNow, so you can chat with them in a way that lets you find stuff that is hard to find. As much as I'd love to say the docs are fantastic and I'm going to find everything I want every time I go there, that is just not true for me. So I find it useful to have other tools like this.
Here it is. Okay. Yes, and I'm sharing it now. Yes. So I had asked this something like, what was it? I already asked. What new things are with I'll say workflow editor. Sorry. All right. So I know the answer to this. It should be nothing. In fact, don't use it anymore.
It might be, in fact, that you shouldn't use it anymore. Based on the available documentation, there is no specific mention of new features or changes directly related to Workflow Editor in the Zurich release. However, it does mention that the legacy
escalation approval workflow has been migrated to the low-code flow designer. That's actually accurate. So,
and then it has references there at the bottom, which is really seals the deal, because then you can verify
That I think is the best. So in Texa, we'll put a link in our notes. You'll probably get it. Well, if I publish it in a couple weeks, it's going to be mid-October-ish or so. Incidentally, there's more Jewish holidays coming up. Like now I have Sukkot, so don't think it's over yet. If for any who don't know, this total tangent, this is the point of the show. Most people know Hanukkah of the holidays. Hanukkah, by the way, is the least bottom of the barrel important of holidays. We work,
Is
we don't
it?
care about it. Is.
I thought it was way more important.
It is the
I've heard
bottom.
of this one.
It is the
This
bottom.
was called, the one that you
Yom
just had
Kippur.
was
Yom
what's it
Kippur.
called? Yeah. I told my wife this morning because I kind of laughed at our text exchange.
Yeah, I was texting you yesterday when I shouldn't have been. Anyway,
but I would have thought Hanukkah would have been much higher on the list.
So
being somebody who doesn't know.
So here's a big info for you. Hanukkah is the least important of the Jewish holiday. It's actually a working holiday. So like I don't take days off. I just tell my people, hey, I don't travel because I want to be home for dinner. And it's not about presents. Presents in Hanukkah is only a American thing. Anywhere else, it's about the oil, right? The whole thing of the Jews came back and cleaned up the temple and they found oil and it was supposed to last a day, but it lasted 8 nights. The real miracle of Hanukkah, by the way, is the fact that at the time when it happened, I don't know, a few thousand years ago, basically the Greeks and Persian allies were like kind of beating up the Jews for a while. And the main guy, I forgot his name, Judah of Maccabee, got a little group together and against overwhelming odds beat them like militarily. So that's the real miracle. But the miracle with the oil thing was more of just to make it more like God did something kind of thing. Whatever, great. And Hanukkah is all about just eating stuff in oil. So the potato latkes and even donuts. So I think it's a great holiday personally. But anyway, yesterday was Yom Kippur, which was the biggest holiday, 25 hours fast, no food, no water. And then other important holidays, second is one called Shabbat, which is every Friday night to Saturday night. That's the second most important holiday to Jews, every single Friday night to Saturday night, believe it or not. And then the other holidays, we have Rosh Hashanah, which is the new year. We have that 10 days for Yom Kippur. After Yom Kippur is coming Sukkot, where we have to build a temporary dwelling. After that is other holidays called Shmini Atzer and Simchat Torah, which are more important than Hanukkah, but no one's ever heard about.
Nope.
And days off as well. So basically for like the next couple weeks now, I still have a couple days here and there off. So a little bit of history. So I'm not going to take more time on that. You can email me, text me, whoever's out there if you want to know more.
I find it very fascinating. I appreciate these tidbits.
I have a lot of tidbits.
This is good. I like it.
All right. But anyway, in Texa.ai, now that you've told me about this may be my new best friend.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what Josh's plans are with it, but I'm glad that he shared it and that we can try it out.
And I do like the fact my actual best friend is also named Josh. So it's perfect. I'm going to start calling it Josh AI.
There you go. Just make the bookmark, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And
all right, I'm going to keep leading since we're here. So the other day I also noticed, this is the last thing that I have on my list of things. A senior director at ServiceNow posted 12 tools that he built to make his work easier on bsnyd.com/apps. And it's very much along the lines of those tools that we talked about 2 weeks ago, or when this last episode went up. But he's got a draw app, a crop app, a Kanban app, an acronyms app, right? If you just need a quick thing that's just going to work, you don't got to worry about like if somebody else is going to have their website up still. I'm all about creating the tools you want to exist. So this makes me very happy to see this kind of stuff.
What does that look like to you?
At first I was going to say a tooth, but then you drew a big eyeball, so it kind of looks like one of those characters from that game where they kill each other.
I was going to say it's actually a donut with a bite in it.
Oh, well okay. Yeah.
Or some people call this the ServiceNow logo.
I can't think what it's called now. That it does look like it now that you say that, but
all right. Well, so much for that.
But there's a lot of really cool tools in here.
Prompt builder for Scrappy apps. So I got to look up this Scrappy apps. Is this what's it
So
running?
this is just what he's calling his collection of apps. He built this with Lovable, I believe. And then he just took the code from Lovable and put it on its own website. But that's fantastic. I think it's awesome.
So what happens if I go back in? Does this save my... Oh, it does
it's
save
only it. It's in your browser. He put on the the top page that there's no backend. It's all just using persistent storage on your
Oh,
browser.
that kind of reminds me a little bit of Meteor.js. Have you ever looked at that before?
I have. You brought it up a couple of times. I think it's a
Yeah.
very fascinating project. They did stuff way faster than other tools at the time when they had it out.
Yes. And
Like yeah. It was just a lot faster. It seemed a lot faster of a website because of how they would push the data out or how you'd pull it.
yes, I had some fun with it and it was pretty interesting, Meteor.js. The only thing I didn't like, I went back to it recently
Yeah.
and they had changed the UI to, I think, using more React and some things that were just newer to me. And I'm like, this doesn't feel as natural as it did before. So, things have to mature and whatever, and I get that. But when it first came out, Meteor.js, I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. I can build this quick app. And it was synchronous between browser and backend. It would cache things in the browser. It was pretty neat. I think it was built on Node.js. Everything for client and server was all JavaScript.
There is something really nice about that.
There is.
Because then you don't have to like jump around. You have to know the difference between like
Yeah.
client-side JavaScript and server-side JavaScript, and there are differences. Not much out between Node.js and regular JavaScript.
Well, the
But
one
it's
thing
oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the one reason why I really take to like Node.js and Meteor.js as well is because once again, ServiceNow is kind of like Node.js, like server side and client side, it's all JavaScript. I think the newer workspace UI components though are using Node.js. If I remember, you have to like load up new Node.js to build new components. So it is just nice to have that consistency between front end and back end, like you were saying.
Yeah. And like I had a call last week with Chris Nanda. There was something he recorded. I think he posts on YouTube now. I'll find the link and send it to you later. And we were talking about the new IDE and like how you can build websites with like React in ServiceNow, but it's
But
different.
but you can do that in workspaces anyway. Like that's ServiceNow is basically a web page, really.
I mean, kind of. It's different. ServiceNow just makes it different.
We were just talking about this before we started. We're
I
gonna
know.
go there.
I'm trying not to go down.
I'm
I just wanted to bring up like, you can do it. It's possible.
I think I think the ServiceNow IDE is very fascinating. I think it's cool when you first try it out and you're seeing like these libraries that you didn't know exist on the back end, whatever. But then I'm like, but Fred Letty's original vision was a low code. Realistically, in 2004, it was low code. You had to code, but it was low code, easy to build apps to get work done in an enterprise. And a lot of messaging is no code, low code, build fast. So I'm always like, why do we have the ServiceNow IDE then?
You know what? I'm sure there's great reasons, but I'll tell you this. Things I'm looking forward to that you can do in your browser without the full IDE, like you need the
Components.
IDE, is to see the records that are difficult to diff, to compare with the fluent lingo on it, like a choice
Yeah.
list or like a form layout. You could have a JSON object represent that instead of a giant XML payload. And then the order is consistent and you can see easily what's been changed. I was going to say something else and I forgot it. It was on the tip of my tongue and it left me.
Oh, that happens. You know what? For those few people listening, it's Friday. It's after 5 o'clock my time. 4 o'clock Jace's. I mean, it's the end of the day. It's a long week. So don't
True.
expect us to be like 100% on our game. I don't, caffeine only does so much for me. I don't have access to narcotics. Don't expect much from me this time of day.
All right, let's pivot a little bit. Let's change topic. We didn't talk about this ahead of time, and I'm not going to go long into it, but I have a question.
Okay.
When do you listen to podcasts like on your own outside of this? I'm assuming you do.
I try to. It's just more along the lines of normally when I'm in the car driving.
Okay.
And I haven't gone on long car trips lately. The last one I listened to was Acquired. I love listening to those guys. I'm surprised they have not done a ServiceNow.
Weren't they a
one.
speaker?
Yeah, they were a speaker of knowledge, and they've interviewed Bill McDermott, so he's like in with them, right? I've emailed them. I'm like, dude, one of the guys went to Ohio State. I'm like, dude, you're from Ohio State. I am too. Never responded. But I'm like, why don't you do one on ServiceNow? And ServiceNow has been heard as a sponsor before. So they're very aware of it. Maybe they will. Who knows? I don't know how they get their topics. Right now they're doing Google. It was the second Google one. It's very good to listen to. That's usually what I listen to.
The reason I ask is because I've been doing a lot more walking, and I've been listening to more podcasts when I walk, or not listening to anything at
Maybe
all,
I
just
should
in my
do that.
thoughts. Yeah, I'm at about average 4 miles a day now, which is,
That's impressive. That's
yeah,
over
it's
an
a
hour of
lot.
walking.
It's a lot of steps. Yeah, it's over an hour of walking. Because I'm not running. I'm not into running yet, so we'll get there. But one of the things I listen to has this TikTok creator whose name is, I think it's El Cordova. I don't know if you know who she is.
Sounds familiar. I just deleted TikTok because I just wanted to like
You
try to
can
look.
watch her on YouTube or Facebook or whatever it is. But her stuff is so brilliant. It's so
Oh, and
interesting.
I love her stuff.
Her stuff is
Yes.
great. And she did a
Yes.
podcast episode with Simon Sinek. Do you know who Simon Sinek is?
I know who Simon Sinek is. Yeah. Her stuff is so funny.
That podcast
Yes.
episode is just amazing because they just go deep into it. And there's a whole part about Star Wars that they just go super deep in. They're like, if you are not a fan of Star Wars, you might as well stop listening and get out of here. Because we're going to go deep now.
Yes.
Or Star Trek.
Cordova.
Yeah.
ELLE, by the way. I just did.
I didn't know this until I listened. And I guess if you want to listen to the episode and not be spoiled. But she's from Minnesota too, or near Minnesota, North Dakota. She's like across the street from Minnesota. So I feel like maybe that's kind of a neat little factoid. But
that is so, you know, I'll share my screen. I'm going to put a link to her stuff because I have been actually watching her in TikTok for a few years now, at least.
Her stuff is fantastic. And what makes it really cool is it's so nested. Like she'll have a topic that you won't know about and you'll get like one part of it and then you'll watch it again. And you're like, oh, wait. Oh, she was referencing that and that other thing.
Yes. And then she also will do like, she acts like
the fonts.
The fonts, or she did one. Yeah, the fonts was a good one. And like the planets.
There was the poem she did, a riff off of Hank Green's.
Oh, was it?
There was no up, there was no down, there was no left, there's no right. And then she expanded on it a lot more.
Yes.
But anyways.
She's one of those people who's, you can tell, is very intelligent, very science focused, but she makes it kind of fun with a lot of the topics.
Yes.
But some of the stuff is also just obscure enough that if you really don't know the background of the topic, you may not think it's hilarious.
Right.
I am so glad you brought her up. You know what?
I'm glad I brought her up too. Don't go install TikTok because of it. You can watch it on YouTube or whatever. But if you want to get more of her, like an hour and a half of her, just go check out that podcast episode by Simon Sinek on, I think it's
Do you think she's getting too famous to come join our podcast sometime?
You know, I will tell you this. It never hurts to ask.
We'll try that. You know, the problem is not because most of my fame is like ServiceNow related. And you go to TikTok and like ServiceNow has like 5 followers. Like obviously ServiceNow as a topic is not a big TikTok draw.
That's why we got to diversify here, man.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I haven't hit any claim to fame of like, you know, millions of followers.
I mean, I don't know about you, but you've got more people trying to be you than they have been me. You know,
what are you talking about? Your name gets mentioned by Dave Wright at SCO. He's saying this guy Jace. And I'm like, I know him.
But nobody's impersonating me to buy cars.
Well, you're talking about because someone stole my identity. For reference, back in the Equifax data breach 8 years ago, whatever, someone got my information from Equifax, which is why I hate them. And these people picked my name, which was the most, I don't understand. At the time, I was more on social media on what was called Twitter, and I still call it Twitter. I'll never refer to it as anything else. So I was easy to find, nonetheless, with my name of Michael Slobodnik, which is a very uncommon name. Someone got my identity, tried to buy a car. Multiple car dealerships, by the way, 2 of them at least, thought it was a little suspicious. They Googled me, reached out to me both on Facebook and LinkedIn. I think I got connected on one of the people on Facebook and became Facebook friends with them. And I got the number of the person trying to buy cars with my fake ID, with my identity, and I called them. I'm like, you idiot! Why don't you do like a John Smith or something? Why'd you do me? So needless to say, this is the whole background Jace is talking about. Yes, apparently 2 people, maybe it was 1 person, wanted to be me to buy cars. I mean,
I think many people might want to be you, but
I do get compliments.
They say copy is like a form of flattery, right?
Yes, I guess so. Okay. All right. Other topic we have to get into. because there's a couple things I want to address here.
Did we skip
So,
some stuff? I'm all
no,
about
we
it.
haven't skipped anything.
Good.
Maybe we will. I don't know. But the Zurich has gone GA, general availability. So it's out officially, of which we're going to have matchy Zurich ServiceNow shirts. But that being said, there are a couple neat things that I heard that are available. One of the biggest ones, well, a couple big things. Jace and I, for people who know, Jace and I have kind of gone back and forth between the workflow editor and flow designer.
I don't think we've ever
And-
gone back and forth.
Well, we've had conversations about it.
We each have our own opinion.
Yes, we have our opinion.
One of us is right, one of us is wrong. We don't
Obviously,
need to
I'm
agree who
right.
that is.
Well, I'm going to be righter. Let me put it that way. So needless to say, as Jace, if you're watching, you'll see him stepped away. I'm just going to keep talking. He's getting back. Needless to say, as of Zurich with Workflow Editor, all out-of-box workflows have been migrated to Flow Designer. And
awesome. That's a great feat.
I can't remember if it was set or not, but I thought I heard maybe it was Zurich or later. They're going to start making Workflow Editor read-only where you cannot create brand new workflows. I don't know if that's Zurich or if it's going to be later. If it's going to be later, don't quote me on it. But with everything out of box being migrated to Flow Designer, it's not the beginning and it's not the end, but I think it's the beginning of the end for Workflow Editor. So if you're listening to this and you're a ServiceNow customer and you are still creating brand new workflows, stop doing that. And if you have a partner who's doing it, tell them to stop doing it. They should be in flows, brand new things in flows. Now, I'm not saying anything that workflow is going to go away. I don't know if it'll ever quote unquote go. I still know people who have their portal still on the content management system, CMS. If you know, you know.
No, you know.
But this is the beginning, I think, of the end of Workflow Editor. The other thing that is new as Zurich with Flow Designer is flow history. So now it is, I haven't tried it yet to work with it, but if you look it up on our document site, or maybe use in Texa, it's now giving you things of like viewing the configuration for each flow in the history, filter flow histories by user, restore a flow history entry as the current configuration of a flow, delete a flow history entry. So it seems to me that with the history of Flow Designer, our product teams who originally said, hey, we see the GitHub repo and scopes as the way to quote unquote do history. I think they finally got word from the community to say, no, they want history directly for each flow. And now they have it. I think that's a win. I know the flow editor, workflow editor is not a win for you.
Well, it's a win for some, loss for others.
I don't know. Like, I'm not going to say if it's good or bad. I'm going to say it's just moving in another step of progress.
I feel like I came across a post 4 months ago on LinkedIn by this gal named Valerie Ott about Flow Designer stuff when there was some miscommunication about what is happening with Flow Designer. Or not Flow, with Workflow Editor, with Legacy Workflow Editor, right? And I'd like to just read it verbatim, if you don't mind. It'll just take a minute. Newer ServiceNow devs seem to wonder why I say they can pry Visual Workflow Editor from my cold, dead hands. Well, congrats. They did. You sweet summer child, you have obviously not known the beauty of Visual Workflow Editor. And maybe you have not yet known the pain of crafting an elegant, sprawling, glorious, cursed flow with 100 actions, only to realize the bitter, soul-crushing end that you need to change the trigger. And Flow Designer said, oh, cool. We'll just delete every single reference you lovingly created. And I said, ah! And then I rebuilt everything manually, one by one, like some kind of medieval workflow monk, chiseling out logic on stone tablets with bleeding hands. So no, I don't want to hear how modular flow is. I don't want your clean architecture or your best practices. I want revenge. I empathize with this person so much.
So are they living in Indiana, Ohio, or Florida by chance, where my wife is licensed as a therapist?
Yeah, I thought you were asking something. No,
I'm just thinking
it looks like they're in California.
Okay, California won't work. You know what? I understand some of the pain and frustration. At the same time, there has been constant messaging that flows are the way to go. And if you have 100 actions, maybe you need to consider, subflows.
I'm
Um,
I'm I'm just expressing what I've read
you know
that
what?
resonates with me very closely.
I'm not going to be totally heartless on it. I understand because I have been in that before and I've learned painfully. I've done labs of Flow Designer and it's kind of sad when you say pretend it's 1995 like you're using words, hit the save button every 5 minutes. I have said that. And I had pictures of Clippy in my lab too. I understand, but at the same time, it's like, hey, look, we got to move to newer stuff. Um,
But
Flow Designer, Flow
I also
Designer
want
never
to
had my browser crash. Let me say, put it that way.
some things are worse than browsers crashing. But um yeah, it's interesting. I also read that it actually is still going to be editable and not deprecated in the way that you're saying. Like
No,
ServiceNow is
no,
just no longer going to
things
use
are
it.
things are there going to be editable because you may need to change it,
Right.
but you won't be able to create new. I don't
Does it have it
remember.
on the docs to say that? Because that's news to me.
Oh, maybe I misheard something then, which is very possible.
Because
Or maybe
there
I'm thinking,
was a whole thing about it that I can't think of the guy's name now.
all right, I'm going to do a disclaimer. I'm not in product management. Check the docs. What I do know for a fact is that everything's been migrated out of box. All the old
Yes.
workflows have been into the flows. And the only thing I'll say is historically, me being a longtime ServiceNow person, longish, historically, oftentimes what happens is when we move off of a technology, what I have seen ServiceNow do is they will say, you can't create new stuff in this new thing, but we're not going to shut it off. It's going to stay because we don't know who's got it, but new customers won't have it spun up. That is historically what has happened.
That's like true for two things: processors and CMS.
Content management system.
CMS.
I had a demo environment still with CMS because I had it turned on for them because I had that environment for so long.
Yeah, you could probably still turn it on if you knew the plugin name.
Say anything.
Anyways,
I'm also not going to say anything that I think a certain university in Ohio of the state of Ohio may still be using CMS because what they did was before Service Portal came out in Helsinki, they wanted to have responsive design and everything, so they brought in all the Bootstrap libraries. So it looked like it was the quote unquote Service Portal was built on CMS. It could still be there for all I know. Like they may not have had a reason to change it. Possibly.
if it ain't
Allegedly.
broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. All right. So anyway, long story short, start using Flow Designer, whoever the person is saying, probably for my dead cold hands. Let's just not go there. Just, I understand. Keep putting in feedback. We'll keep hammering on product management teams. It'll get better. I'm not going to promise it'll get better. But if you ever move to Indiana, Ohio, Florida, my wife's a therapist. She can see you. As long as I don't know you personally.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
We'll
So
see what happens.
Anyway, the other thing that I heard, someone had a post, and I've got to find to see if it's in the release notes for Zurich, is that they are coming out, or maybe it's already out. I haven't dug it up yet. A custom component builder that I thought was supposed to be like web browser based, not the old custom component way.
That'd be very cool if that's true. I have not read all that I can about Zurich, but I should. If that's true, if they have like a sort of like a service portal editor, widget editor for the custom components, like that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I thought I saw somebody post something. Okay, once again, don't hold me. I'm not product management. I thought I saw someone post the new component builder. Right now, I know when it comes to components, you have to like load up Node.js. You got to install ServiceNow CLI.
You got to use the ServiceNow CLI, which is not the same thing as the SDK, which is not the same thing as the CLI, which is not the same thing as the IDE. They're all different. Well, but the IDE has a command line component, not in the command line tool.
Well, yeah, but it's using the CLI.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's got its own
IDE
CLI?
does not use the command line CLI.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
I would have thought they would have just used the same thing.
Why? Why use the same thing when you can make a new one that's better? We need to get to 100 studios. That's what we're getting to.
I think I got to break out ServiceNow Studio and revisit this.
So
okay,
there is the IDE in the browser you can use that's pre-installed in Zurich. If you search ServiceNow IDE, it's there. Very pro code, very interesting, whatever.
Okay.
You have the ServiceNow CLI, which has a whole nother thing, but that's where you go to install like additional things. One of them allows you to build your own custom components for workspaces.
Okay.
Allegedly. That's my understanding
Allegedly.
of it. And that I may have it wrong too, because I don't do it. I try to, and then I just get frustrated. So I walk away.
Okay. Well, I got things to check then. So I gotta check and find out about the component builder because I saw someone post something about it. I'm like, ooh, this looks cool. And I didn't. So maybe I shouldn't bring that up. Don't listen to me. Ignore, erase,
Do
whatever.
not ignore Slobodnik. He speaks the truth. He's 100% truth.
But don't
If you
do
have
that, dude.
questions,
Don't
just,
do that, dude.
refer them to this podcast.
All right. Well, I think the flow history, can we both agree that's a good improvement?
That is a fantastic improvement. I
All
totally
right.
agree. That's
All
awesome.
right. What else? Do
I-
you know of anything else that's cool in Zurich? I didn't like read through all the notes yet, and I may not. AI control tower stuff we're all talking about.
That's cool.
AI stuff. I have
Yeah.
noticed some changes for AI now. Like if you've seen any of
Oh,
what?
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say if you've seen any of the demos, I've noticed like it used to be where resolution notes generation would automatically fill in. Now it gives you like a little prompt to fill it in. So it's getting a little more like user choice, if you will, if you want to use it. And then the other thing I've also noticed recently with the AI stuff as well is what did I just notice? Oh, not just the AI, but the external connectors that we talk about in Workflow Data Fabric. We now have out-of-box connectors to easily connect to things like Microsoft product pages and third-party product pages like Jira. So when you're asking questions to the AI, it can actually search through that for answers, which I think is actually kind of exciting.
That is very exciting. There's some G-form client-side enhancements that have been made. So you can have different colorful messages now. Like that's something that stood out to me. And I
Well, yeah.
remember looking
Oh,
at this.
and there was also something with parameters for catalog items.
Yes.
Where for
This is
anyone, this actually I thought was big news, even though it's in the notes and I don't know if it's been talked about a lot. But in the old days, if you wanted to like pass in data parameters to a catalog item, you could use a parameter like the question mark, my data is equal to whatever. And then you had to put in a client script to pull that data out into your question, your variable in the catalog item. Now, by default, if you use that parameter name matching the name of the field for the variable, it will just fill it in automatically. That's kind of neat. Simple.
It is neat.
But
I've
a big
built
deal.
solutions to do that more systematically because it's different for Portal than it is for Core UI. And then, who knows how it is on whatever new interfaces they put things on.
Workspaces. Well, right now, just to reiterate, Service Portal is still the recommended end user interface for requesters.
Yeah, I think it's a great ad. I wish they'd added it like 7 years earlier, but I'm glad it's here now.
Yes, they're a little behind on that one. The other thing that I always like that is in the technical documentation that is not often talked about is there is an API for mobile called Cabrillo. I don't know how to pronounce it. But one of the neat things about this is that you can use it in your client scripting. And typically it's designed to be so that way when you're using the native mobile app, which came from the SkyDraft whatever time ago, you could use this API to kind of call the hardware or various things. Even though it was something that may have been like through the service portal, it could still kind of determine, oh, you're using the ServiceNow mobile, maybe viewing this page through it. So I've got some access to extra functionality. At one point a few years ago, I ended up like kind of getting into the JavaScript library and found out, oh, here's how you could call Cabrillo from a catalog client script. So I was able to put things in to say, if this item's being called for mobile, call the barcode. So I had something that was like a catalog items that was something like, repairing a mobile asset. And if you brought that catalog item up through the mobile app versus just through a web browser, Cabrillo would pick it up and say, oh, you're mobile. Let me jump to the barcode to scan the barcode to populate it.
That's a cool use case.
And it was a very simple, clean use case. And it was really beautiful it was like, oh, but you had to kind of dig in to understand how to call that from the catalog client script versus from Service Portal. But little things like that are tidbits that can really put the polish on what you can do, which is kind of exciting.
I think we should write these things down when we find them and share them. Where do you write things down like this and share them? What type of
You know
what do
what?
you call that?
I was thinking about that as well just earlier today, thinking, I wish there was like a Snowflake for just my personal mind. Like, how Snowflake is the whole enterprise data lake and you're kind of dumping data there and some, generally it's some kind of organized in some fashion. I wish I had a personal one of those to be like, I want to dump this like into a personal Snowflake, connect an LLM to it, and use that for questions to ask myself.
I mean, literally, when I started my blog forever ago, which I need to move off again because I don't like some things about it now with the hosting provider of it. But I remember I would post on it, Google would pull it in, I would search for something like 3 years later, and I'd find that I was the person who answered the question. Like, oh, that's how I solved it.
So I solved it.
Well, that's another one that I fixed myself, I guess. But had I not written it down, I would have forgotten it.
Yes.
I think these kinds of things are important to write down, right?
I have it written down in a OneNote. I finally spun up my personal one. It was Evernote, and I think I migrated because of cost. I do have a ServiceNow section in OneNote where I put some of that interesting tidbits of information.
You do have a blog, ITIL and Me. I remember it.
Well, it's not really, I don't have ITIL and Me anymore. I migrated it all to slobodnik.com because when ITIL just kind of got, I don't know how to put it. ITIL 4 was very much an obvious, all right, the selling of it, the UK government sold it and they were trying to capitalize on profits and whatever. And it was just very obvious to be like, there's other things out there. I was like, all right, well, I don't think I'm going to be just in ITIL anymore. So I got to, get it off that. Slobodnik.com.
You should I highly suggest you check out 11D or something and just post your notes that you share right there. Boom.
Maybe I'll do that.
Right on slobodnik.com.
You know what I'll do? I will put all that stuff.
And then Google can be your LLM.
Well, what I was going to do was maybe I'll put my notebook, connect an LM to it, and then put an interface in my slobodnik.com where you can ask anything, like you're talking to Slobodnik.
Yeah, hook it up to what is the speech one? It's like 11 something. I can't think what it's called now.
I don't know. You know what we need to do?
No, I don't know.
Going back to El Cordova, total tangent.
Yeah.
We need to reach out to her and be like, look, here is things about Workflow Editor. Here's things about Flow Designer. Can you write a song about the demise of Workflow Editor? She would be amazing to do that. And it would be hilarious.
I don't know. I don't know how amazing that would be. It would be very sad for me.
It'd be sad for me too, but it'd be funny at the same time.
Yeah. Well, we won't know unless we ask.
That's true. All right. So I'm going to reach out. Worst she does is just ignore me.
Well, make the ask easy. Don't make part of the thing just write a song.
No. You'd be like, look, I love your talents. And it's probably more like, do you have a price or something for something like this? Like a service?
Well, she used to be in a band.
Yeah, I remember some of that. Yeah.
Anyways, I think this has been great. I don't have anything else. I don't have any other things that I can think of to bring up. But it's been kind of low-key and relaxed.
I could probably keep talking, but let's just wrap it up because...
Yeah, we're at 47 minutes record.
These are getting longer. I think we were using Buzzsprout or something. I think that's pretty much gone in terms of like a place for the podcast. I think YouTube seems to be it.
Yeah, but I want an RSS feed to it. And YouTube doesn't do that.
Okay, we'll have to find something. Buzzsprout doesn't do very well with it either, though.
We'll talk about it. I think we can talk offline about it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. This has been Star 42 with Michael.
And Jace. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks after a couple conferences.
Absolutely. Or maybe we'll get it out before the Null Edge. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Till next time.